here, although it's becoming a little less symmetric as far as convection on the northern side, which may be ingesting some dry air still surrounding it. So if we look at the water vapor, we can maybe see what's going on here. Looks pretty healthy, really, on water vapor. Not a lot of dry air around it. Maybe, um, well, there's still some dry air around there. Uh, so it may be ingesting that every once in a while. But anyway, here it's rapidly intensified to category 3, which was well predicted by the models. And given its small size, you see how it's wobbling, looks like to the south a little bit right there. My cat just jumped up on my. Hello, Pearl, my cat. um, she likes to investigate what I'm doing. Anyway, you can see his movement here. Aside from the wobbling of it, see the eye kind of rotating around there. But that's indicative of a very strong system, and it's really small. So, as I said before, smaller systems are subject to a Pearl. Um, any small changes in the environment, the smaller systems really react quickly to them, whether it's rapidly intensify or not, or weaken. That's what's happened overnight. The diurnal maximum plus favorable environmental conditions, sea surface temps, low wind shear. You can see there's some wind shear off to the north here. It may be restricting its outflow to the north a little bit, and that may be what's driving it southward. You can see the push um, here. High pressure looks like it's still trying to exert control over this thing. So, given what we see here, we know that we have a lot of convection going on the northern Leeward Islands, which is leading to heavy rainfall right now. Other than that, the wind field is relatively small, so winds on the south side are probably not reaching tropical storm force right along the islands here. But of course, in thunderstorms, they will. But anyway, pretty impressive this morning. Very, very small system right now. So that's good news for the people around here because other than the fact that it's raining heavily in the surf, the winds are probably not that bad. There's a tropical storm being warning out here on the Turks and Caicos, I think. Anyway, this is the, oops, I have trouble with this sometimes. I apologize. This latest advisory, 120 mile per hour, category 3 hurricane, pressure down to 955, which is quite significant overnight. Rapid intensification overnight. National Hurricane Center is wanting even 10% of this low developing into something overnight, even if it, I mean, today, even if it does, it's going to move not much in the next couple of days. And it's possible it could develop into something, but likely after that, it'll be absorbed into our troughs and short waves digging around the flow here. It's going to eventually pick up Erin moving up this way generally. So I can't really draw a loop there, but more like this here. Again, we have Erin, then we have the AI models, and I show these every time because they're really good graphical depiction of what the models think is going to happen. Track density, and also you show that low off the coast here. possibly developing. Anyway, these models have kind of underdone the intensity already. It's already a Cat 3, so, and the initialization time is a little bit behind. However, as you go over in time, you can see almost all the tracks, or all of them, are in between Bermuda. Almost all of them are between Bermuda and the East Coast. Not any, as of right now, are hitting the East Coast of the United States. And that's echoed well in, well, first of all, let's go. This is the latest track here. This is initialized to 16 August, so it's not even showing the current strength. But anyway, it's a little further west right now. Anyway, this is the track. It tracked right off the non-tropical tropical depression right um, after it reached the Cabo Verde Islands, moved across the tropical Atlantic, is now north of the Western Antilles. And this is a Tilmer Berg's website, where he has a lot of good information in one place, and it makes it easy to present to people. So I'm going to do this today. So this is the National Hurricane Center issued, which shows the current intensity, 120 miles an hour, forecast to become a Category 4 in the next 12 hours. That would it could make it run a Cat 5 at this point. Anytime between here, the next 24 hours, it could rapidly intensify. One thing to keep in mind is there's always uncertainty about when it's going to undergo a IROL replacement cycle, which normally weakens a cyclone temporarily until it reorganizes, and then either it gets larger and intensifies back, or even higher than it was before. So we got a possibility maybe making a Cat 5 here, given its small size, and potential to rapidly intensify here. You can see the sea surface temps along its path are quite warm, so that's not an issue. And as long as it keeps moving in a pretty good pace here, there won't be a lot of upwelling either to prevent it from intensifying. So this is the Super-Ensemble track density, showing tightly clustered here the three different um, European GFS, EUCMET, which is a not European, like a English model, I guess. I don't really use EUCMET that much. But and then you have the ensemble mean, and the black line is the members, and the ellipse is like the error, or how wide the track uncertainty is. See, tightly clustered as it moves north of the Bahamas. Still, and then as we get between the United States and Bermuda, zone no members want to go right over Bermuda, but some want to get pretty close. So, but you can see that none of them touch the United States, even though there's quite a few that maybe keep it offshore. Chances are the most sensible impacts will not be wind or rain, but mostly high surf, rip currents along the East Coast, especially as it gets up here in the middle latitudes, as it gets larger in size. And of course, it keeps going here, and it's off to the North Atlantic. This is a good way to visualize the tracks and things like that from the different Canadian, American ensemble, and European ensemble all in one place. So, just from the American model ensemble perspective, they all want to get it to at least, which it already is. These are a little bit behind here. Is initialized 00Z, so it's already 955. So chances are this is a little overdone, but you see all the different 31. It's supposed to be 31 here. Members. There's the center of it is roughly here. There's members to the left and to the right. Looks like stronger members want to be kind of towards the left. The weaker members want to be towards the right. But overall, remains offshore from the continental U.S. Now, if this does get that close, that would be not great, but that's only one out of the total. So small chances there. Given the fact that it's going to get larger in size, the sensible impacts, meaning what people would feel on Bermuda would probably be greater than would be to the left of the system anyway. This is the European ensemble output. Wanting to get it to sub 940 millibar, which is likely close to Cat 5 intensity. See the purples here? The European seems to want to be more towards the right and GFS towards the left, and that's probably why the National Hurricane Center cone is in between. I think the biggest thing we need to look at, like I said, is impacts on Bermuda. This is the total ensemble forecast for Erin. Ensemble confidence through 60 hours is high, which means versus climatology, less spread, moderate confidence up to 120 hours, which is right here. And after that, the confidence is lower. And the spread versus climatology is average, which makes sense given you get further out in time, it's harder to predict where it's going to go. But at 120 hours, there's moderate confidence in the ensemble guidance right now. So this is another way to look at the ensembles. Total density. So probably a center location within 150 kilometers. So you can see the probabilities surrounding the cone get wider as it gets further in time here. But quite a bit of confidence it's going to go to the northeast of the Bahamas and recurve quite sharply once it gets off the in this area here off the southeast coast. All the different colors here represent the different models. You have the European on the right, the GFS intermingled with the UCMET here, CMC. This is another way to look at it. The probability of the center. See, it doesn't move here, so that's where it currently is or close to it. Probability. The red of the color, the greater probability being center within 150 kilometers of a point. Quite confident up until about this point, and losing some confidence along when it recurs. But that's not unusual, I don't think. The recurvature point is usually a big part of contention here. Point of contention whenever you're talking about tropical systems. My cat's still sitting here looking at me. Hey, Pearl. And this is another multi-model ensemble. Look at the probability of the center location with 150 kilometers. Different colors indicate the different means in the models themselves. The models are in really pretty good agreement, to be honest with you. The mean of them, the outside of where the different outliers in the model runs go. So all this to say that given its current position, which is right about here, I would say, it may be initialized a little far south of where this track is, I think, but the overall track is going to follow this pretty well. But we'll have to see where it turns, and where it turns is going to tell us a lot better where it's finally going to go. So Bermuda, I would say, has the biggest chance of possibly getting some impacts because it's on the right side of the storm, which is typically where you have the most impacts. We looked at rapid intensification probabilities. Has a pretty 2-to-1 probability of intensifying 25 knots in 24 hours. Max wind knots, which means 120 knots is like 150 miles an hour. So max potential intensity, given the sea surface temps, a lot higher than that, but doubtful it'll get that high. You can see the sea surface temps would be 30 Celsius until it gets further out, like 120 hours. Relative humidity is continues to increase in the storm, which is good for the storm to intensify and maintain itself. The heat content over the pass gets less over time, maybe because it's slowing down and it tends to churn up some water along its path. But you can see here, wind shear is quite low, forecast to be quite low until it gets 120, 144 hours out, which it increases. But the National Hurricane Center said that due to these factors and maybe idle replacement, that the cyclone will likely get 2 to 3 times bigger than it is now, which will generate a lot more swells and other things along the coast here. If we go back and look at that real quickly, what am I doing? Sorry, guys. Rip currents. There's Erin. Rip currents today, tomorrow. These are off the coast here, likely due to that storm. And yeah, tomorrow it's going to be bad along the northern Caribbean Sea islands here. I wouldn't go swimming out there if I were you. And if we look at what's driving the path of Erin here, latest run, again, model guidance is pretty. See how small Erin is right there, and it grows in size as it moves to the north here. Not quite as big as I would think, but what's driving it here? Here's a 850 millibar vortex, 500 millibar steering flow, ridge in place over the tropical Atlantic. Wants to really, really hold on as long as possible here before Erin gets caught up in the northwest flow and moves northeast flow and moves out to sea. The ridge kind of buckles on the northern side over time. But that's what's steering it. The mid-level ridge here holds pretty firm for quite a while, and then Erin follows a weakness to the north there. I wanted to show you the rip current, the significant wave height modeling as Erin moves through here. See how Erin gets much larger. The wind field, go to the European. We could have 19 up to 20-foot waves off the Carolina coast, along anywhere along the mid-Atlantic as Erin moves out to sea here, and up in Nova Scotia, Greenland. So stay away from the beaches or stay out of the water in the coming days along the East Coast. As far as the tropics and the future of the tropics, this is a global hazards outlook. After Erin, we get rid of Erin, we're in the peak of tropical season or approaching it. The Climate Prediction Center has outlined these areas as higher risk of development with a greater than 40% chance here in the deep main development region and a large area pretty much over the whole tropical Atlantic here. And then to the western tropical Atlantic, the second week, 27th through the 2nd. We should have another update on the 19th. And I'm seeing some signals right now that we may have another system develop off here in this area in the coming days, but we'll just have to see how that plays out. Lastly, I wanted to show you an interesting microwave image of Erin. This gives a good idea to forecast for the structure of Erin. You can see towards the end here, eye wall developing quite well here in Erin, which is indicated by strengthening as well. Pretty cool to look at. That's it for today on the tropics, and I hope you all have a great day and stay weather aware.